We met, we lived in the same neighborhood, and we went out on a double date. A friend of mine went out with Muriel, and I went out with another girl. After that, I had interest in Muriel. I called Muriel, we went out. Then I met her parents, because in those days you usually had to meet the parents. And the father and I were in similar industries. We started to talk, and we just hit it off, and I hit it off with her mother as well. The secret to that is the apple don't fall far from the tree. If you take care of the tree, the apple will fall eventually. So the parents and I got along very well, and then we got married.
We dated for
How long?
a year, and then we got engaged.
Yeah.
A year, yeah, he surprised me with a ring. And his parents had a home in Michigan, summer home. And I guess, yeah, they invited my parents up for the day, and he put the ring under a napkin. I remember I picked up the napkin and put it on my lap, and I said, oh, you know, I see something, and it was an engagement ring.
How did your parents feel about her?
Very good.
Our parents got along very well. Our mothers, you know, then in those years, men, their big thing was work.
Okay.
They had a family, that was their number one thing. But our parents got along well. My mother-in-law was a lovely lady, and she was a great mother-in-law. She died way too young. She died right before our 10th anniversary. And she, you know, came a holiday, she always would invite my parents, so we never had to make a decision what family to be with, or my parents would invite them. So it was very nice for us.
Would you say that your religion played a great part on how many years you're married?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
would.
We were kind of, I think a big thing, I don't know about with men, but with women, you didn't, and probably men too, you didn't want to disappoint your parents. You didn't want to come, our kids today will come to parents with every little thing, things that parents really don't want to hear. We did not do that. You had an argument, I mean, in my family, in our families, you had an argument, you got mad, you got glad. That was it. You didn't go to parents and say, oh, he did this, because you really don't want your parents to think bad about the man you chose to marry.
Wow.
You know, you'd make up, but the parents would remember, and I see that today. I have friends that tell me, I wish my kids would keep their damn arguments to themselves. I don't want to hear them.
I think there's another thing too. There's really no love before marriage. It's a temporary emotional aberration that passes with time. Love comes after marriage with history. And because of the religion and the background, people stood together for long periods of time, acquired that history. Whether it's children, incidents, good times, bad times, you can't take that away and say, I loved that before I even met the person or whatever. So consequently, people get married for the wrong reasons before that, think it's love or lust or whatever. There's the wrong reasons. If it's not going to be a long-term situation, you're never going to have love or respect or commitment. And one of the problems today, I feel, is that people don't understand the commitment they make in a marriage when they have children. They think divorce is something that is easy to do with nobody affected except them. But it, in my opinion, affects the children. It affects the entire community. And because they don't realize what you had before marriage, you don't have after, because now it's the real world. You know, this is what begins to happen. You gotta make a living, you gotta raise kids, you gotta make the mortgage payments, you gotta do whatever you gotta do. So that to me is what love is all about.
So your first 10 years of marriage, how was it?
Fine. I mean, we're very different, so you argue. But you know, you
But at least you said it. It's okay to have the argument and get it out and work it out.
Well, there's another difference too. By osmosis, we had traditional roles.
Okay.
The traditional role of a woman was to have children, of course, you know, take care of the house, train the kids, prepare the meals, you know. And working was okay, but that was secondary, wasn't a primary
For
thing.
the woman.
For a man, it was supporting the family completely, security, and discipline. So consequently, today that I see is the women are not home raising the kids, they got a sitter or whatever you're gonna do it. The kids are latchkey kids. So the next generations, as we go forward, have no permanency whatsoever. They don't have the security. If you get divorced, sometimes one of the parents decides not to be around.
Disappears.
Yeah, so then that relates to an insecurity, somebody abandoned me. And that's an effect.
When,
So in our generation, at least when we were doing it, it was like, yeah, that's your commitment, that's what you're gonna do. Come hell or high water, that's it.
So was there much divorce? I mean, I'm talking about your families. Was there no divorces?
yeah, there was, well,
It wasn't prevalent.
Oh, no, not at all.
You're talking about maybe 1% or something.
our nieces and nephews' generation, our kids' generation.
Yeah, but I'm talking about yours and your
No.
mother and fathers and grandparents.
No, grandparents for sure not.
Because it was
They lived
difficult
long.
to get divorced, because you had to get a Jewish divorce,
Which is?
which is very difficult. Gotta go before the rabbis,
Only men can get it.
and only a man can get the divorce. So consequently, it's a tough situation.
Wow. Is that still the point today?
Yeah,
For
it's
divorce?
easier today, it's easier,
Today, it's easier to do.
yeah.
The
Now,
rabbis can force the man today to
Yeah.
agree to divorce.
my friends, when we moved here, so that was 30-something, about 38 years ago, I have a couple of friends, good friends, and they got divorced. They were married 25 or 30 years. They raised their kids first, that was another thing.
Okay.
When their children were out of college, then they got divorced.
Okay. And so they stayed together.
They stayed together. And another reason, I think, would be the women's movement. In my time, particularly among, all of us, the wife stayed home and raised the kids, like he said, and the man worked and was committed to working and doing the best he could for his family. Because that's what he was taught. That was his purpose in life, to be a good father and husband. And then women, like I was one of the very few of my friends who went to college and graduated. But after that, kids all went to college. So women had careers. Women could afford to leave. And a lot of divorce, it's two decent people who just leave for no damn real reason.
So they just give up too soon.
They give up too soon.
They don't want to put the hard work. So one of the keys that I'm hearing you is that people give up too soon because they don't want to make it work, and don't have it in
I
them.
think they have a fantasy about
Marriage.
Yeah.
A fantasy is the word.
Okay.
I think they have a fantasy and not the reality of marriage. If you have a reality in marriage, then you're going to say, this is it, unless somebody's psychotic.
Well, yeah. Well, that's different.
I'm talking about what goes on normally. So if you're going to get married, then you think it's going to be something I'm going to play at for a while, and then after that I'm going to leave, whoever that is. It could be man or woman. Well, that's not a marriage. Marriage is love is going to come later, and it's not the fantasy you had when you were courting.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a whole different.
Well, this concludes this phase.